in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Road course racing is in the air. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to race number 19 of the season of the NCRA Season 6 Hershey's Cup Series. We are now past the halfway point here in this season. Last week was race 18. We're now into race 19 of our 36 race schedule, and we are also drawing even closer to when we will determine the 16 drivers that will battle in this season's Hershey's Cup Series chase for the championship. R Reynolds has now put his name in the drawing as one of those 16 drivers, as he went to victory lane last week at the dirt track of the Springfield Mile, making him the third rookie to go to victory lane this season, joining the likes of Joshua Collard and Benny Watson. But who will we see go to victory lane here today? I would expect that a lot of our road course aces will try and find their way to the front in their bid to go to victory lane, some for the first time this season, some for the second time, and for a couple of drivers for the third time this season in Hershey's Cup Series competition. How about this for a front row? It's been well documented all the way back to the Snickers Cup Series on this channel, the friendly rivalry between Tim Walsh and Trent Dunham, and they make up our front row here today at Watkins Glen. Walsh starts on the pole position. That would be technically in other racetracks the outside of row 1, but since the first turn here at Watkins Glen is a right-hander, that is considered the inside of row 1, and Trent Dunham would line up alongside of him on the outside of row number 1. Now, Tim Walsh, of course, having a career year. He's third in the point standings. He's been to victory lane at a road course this season already at Sonoma. Would love to be able to double down and get a second win this season at a road course. Trent Dunham, on the other hand, he comes into this race 17th in the point standings. He doesn't have a win, and he's the defending champion. So in order to defend his title this season, to make it into the playoffs, he pretty much needs to go to victory lane. We'll see if maybe he can do that here today. We are going to have 23 laps of racing here. Our Pizza Hut X Series race yesterday was 18 laps in distance, and we ran the entire 18-lap event under green flag conditions. They had to make a green flag pit stop as well. Here today, we could see these drivers make as many as 2 green flag pit stops depending on the fuel window. So that could be very interesting if in this track, maybe playing a factor into a fuel strategy race, and we could end up having a surprise winner. Let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Command is given. You can feel the anticipation of this race. You can kind of cut the tension of this race, the feeling, with a knife, as the pace car will lead this field around for their pace lap. It's a road course, so we're going to have a little bit of extra time to be able to give you your top 10 the point standings coming into this race, and it's presented to you by Golden Corral. Joshua Collard, who starts in the outside of row 2, he's still the points leader coming into this race. Jordan Anderson still second. He's 47 points back, though, from the points lead, so Collard has been able to make a nice little tidy gap between himself and second in the point standings. Tim Walsh jumped up to third last week after the Springfield Mile race. Fourth in the standings, 2-time winner Brooke Allen, who rolls off from 8th here today. And Dylan Poteet continues his struggles. He is going to be 5th in the points coming into this race. Zachary Fitzwater rolls off from 3rd place here today. He's 6th in points. Alex Drayton currently in 7th. Brandon Gonzales in 8th. Anthony McCrury currently runs in 9th. And in 10th in the points is J Arndt. A couple of drivers we should keep an eye on here today that are winless, but are up there in the point stands. Of course, Jordan Anderson, second in points, still looking for his first win of the season, trying to become the fourth rookie to go to victory lane this year. Charles Sandfer, who finished runner-up last week to R.J. Reynolds at Springfield. He's now up to 11th in the standings. Joseph Srigley, 13th in points. Kyle Keith, 14th. Elijah Gilbert in 15th. J.T. Bryant, Trent Dunham, Kyle Mathews, 16th through 18th in points. So any one of those drivers with a victory here today could put themselves in one of those 16 slots in the chase for the championship. Two drivers we'll have to keep tabs on during the course of this race that are outside the top 30 in the standings are L Alvarise, he's 32nd in points, our winner from Charlotte. He needs to get back into the top 30 in the standings. And Dylan Young, two-time winner this season, he's 33rd in points. So right now, one of our three two-time winners would not make it into the playoffs if he cannot get back into the top 30 in the standings. So we'll see how he does here today. We've got some hometown drivers here from New York that are in this field. One of them, the 7 of Johnny Gardner. So we'll keep our eyes on him, see how he does in this race in front of his home crowd. And now the pace car is going to head for pit road, and we're getting ready to turn them loose here at the Glen. 23 laps of racing. Will we see our first caution of the weekend, or will they run this race as a fuel strategy race, clean and green all the way to the end? Only one way to find out. Flagman, we're waiting on you. He's got the green flag in hand. And as he waves it, we're green at the Glen. Let's roll. Tim Walsh takes the early lead there out of turn 1. Fitzwater going to move to second. Trent Dunham now fading back to third in a battle with Daniel Voyles. Through the S's they go, coming down to one of the toughest parts of this road course. Some people call it the chicane, some call it the boot, some call it the dogleg. I call it trouble, as they're side by side for the lead. Fitzwater and Walsh. Walsh hops the curb. Fitzwater hops the curb. And after all that, Walsh is going to emerge still with the race lead. Fitzwater trying to keep in touch as the yellow flag is out. Full course yellow for the first time this weekend, and I would be willing to bet you $200 it was something that happened over in that chicane. Walsh trying to block both lanes as now it's a battle for second between Fitzwater and Voyles coming to this yellow flag. Tim Walsh, though, going to best them all, and he will lead us under our first yellow of the day, first yellow of the weekend. Now let's see who it was that was involved here in our first caution of the day. I'm not seeing really any visible damage on anybody back here. We've got Kyle Mathews, Jake Baskinger, Shane Lake, and Dylan Poteet all back near the rear of the field. Oh, there is damage on Dylan Poteet. Some left side damage on the 31, so the bad luck continues for the driver out of Tweenix Racing. They're all going to try and get themselves situated in single file here. Pits will be open the next time, and then we will go green next time around with the road course yellows, so we get as much green flag racing in as possible. Let's see if we can find out what happened. Oh, looks like someone spun there on the entry to the S's. Looks like we had or to the chicane, I should say. Looks like we had quite a bit of stuff take place here. So let's take a look at a replay. Tim Walsh paces us under our first caution of the day here at the Glen. Well, I don't think Poteet was the only one that was involved in the incident that took place down here in the chicane, but we're going to focus on him since he was the one that had damage. Oh, there was some contact right there. I don't know if Poteet got into Baskinger's right rear or if Baskinger came down across the nose of the 31. Regardless, Poteet's going to go for a spin down there into the area where you're not allowed to go, but obviously he had no choice. Baskinger is the one that spun through the grass there in the chicane, and I thought I saw skid marks heading off the exit of the chicane too over there in that runoff spot. We'll see who it was that did that. There's Poteet getting his car righted. Baskinger tries to get his car righted. Oh, looks like it might have been Kyle Mathews. Kyle Mathews and Shane Lake both. I don't know if their incident was in any way related to the Baskinger-Poteet incident. Oh, yeah, it was. Right here, watch the 38 of Baskinger. Right there, he gets Shane Lake in the right rear quarter panel. And then Kyle Mathews gets hooked in the right rear quarter panel. And both the 09 and the 55 go spinning around. Whoa, 55 got some air there going over the rumble strip. And fortunately, with that runoff area now, it's been updated from a gravel pit to just a area of asphalt, which allows the driver to be able to drive away of his own accord after spinning out, rather than having to wait for a tow truck to come around and pull them out of the gravel pit. So kudos to NNSCRA officials for that. I am curious here, Kyle Mathews driving towards that inside wall. I think he actually might hit that. Oh, he did. Ooh. Well, that's going to be at least some right front damage on the Kings Island Chevrolet. I don't know how badly that's going to affect him. That is a safer barrier there, but still, a safer barrier still has a barrier in the name, and so that means it's a wall. Oh, and then, ooh, little contact again then between him and Shane Lake. I don't know if maybe Kyle Mathews thought Shane Lake was to blame there. Maybe didn't realize Shane got hooked by the 38, but regardless, that's what put us under the caution here for the first time today at Watkins Glen. I just realized I had the two bars there still up. Oh well, that's what put us under the caution. Let's go back now for the restart. A lot of cars trying to catch up to the field that came to pit road under that yellow. And I believe the first of them was Chris Dodd in the 88. So we did have drivers elect to come to pit road here under this yellow flag, which says to me they'll probably have to pit at least one more time, but they won't have to pit twice. These drivers up here, they may have to pit more than once before the completion of this race. So after the drivers electing to come to pit road, some electing to stay out, Tim Walsh is going to be the leader. Trent Dunham lines up right behind him in second. Third place is going to be Cody Smart now, with Brooke Allan in fourth. Fifth, Charles Sandfer. Fitzwater is in sixth. Jordan Anderson, is seventh. 8th, Daniel Voyles. 9th, James McCloud. And 10th will be Joshua Collard. Don't know officially where Chris Dodd is restarting. According to our scoring, it says 20th, but that could have been screwed up based on who crossed the start-finish line when, based on whose pit stall is where on pit road. So we don't know officially yet where Chris Dodd restarted. We'll try and find out here when they cross the start-finish line. So 3 laps will be complete. We'll go back green on lap 4. That gives us 20 laps to go here in this race, and Tim Walsh gets us back underway. McCloud making a move back there. That would be for 6th place on Jordan Anderson. Chris Dodd crossed the line indeed, officially in the 20th position. So we know that 20th on back, those drivers more than likely are expecting that if this thing goes long green flag, they'll only have to pit one more time. For these guys up here, first back through 19th on the restart, they may have to pit twice before the checker flag comes out. Of course, if a caution comes out, then that throws all that strategy out the window. Trent Dunham all over the back bumper of Tim Walsh. Thought about making a move there in the chicane, thought better of it, tucks back in line. Top 4 have broken away. Walsh, Dunham, Smart, and Brooke Allan. You know, some people might find it a surprise to see Cody Smart up here in that 12 car. I'm not exactly that surprised. Cody Smart, back when the Hershey's Cup Series non-charter system was going on, was a 3-time winner, and one of his trips to Victory Lane was at Sonoma, so he knows how to get it done on the road course. Here comes Trent. Big run there out of that corner, trying to get alongside the 15 down to the right-hand turn 1. They're going to play nice with each other here in this battle for the lead. Looks like they're gonna. Trent's going to clear him on the entry to the S's. So new leader, Trent Dunham in the 1. Trent Dunham's last trip to Victory Lane last year when he won the championship was back at Arizona Speedway, a track that we were at just a couple of weeks ago. Been a lot of stuff going on in Hershey's Cup Series relation for next season, actually. Silly season kind of already beginning over on the Facebook group. And while we mentioned Brooke Allan last week, the announcement made that she will not be returning to the 3 for Michael Norman Motorsports, this kind of her swan song season. We mentioned a driver that we're going to be spotlighting today, and that's L Alvarise, trying to make it back into the top 30 in points. Our winner from Charlotte. It was announced that he will not be returning to CJ Racing next season. Chris Dollerton will be making his first full-time season in the Hershey's Cup Series. Chris Dollerton will not be eligible for Rookie of the Year. He made 10 Hershey's Cup Series starts back in, I think it was season 3. Also, it was announced that Elijah Gilbert for Seth Cole Baker Motorsports will not be returning to the 98 next year. There's another driver lined up for that position, so a lot of stuff going on here, and we got a lot of stuff going up at the front. Trent Dunham, Tim Walsh playing a little cat and mouse here. Trent had the lead. Now Walsh takes the lead back. A couple of drivers that had a good run last week at Springfield but did not come away with the W. Still looking for their first wins of the season. Charles Sandfer in the 03, James McCloud in the 51. They are now up here in the hunt for this race lead potentially. McCloud's in 5th, Sandfer in 6th. Sandfer finished runner-up last week and McCloud finished in 4th. Meanwhile, Brooke Allan battled for 3rd place with Cody Smart. But it's fun to watch these two guys because, you know, if you've been in the NNSCRA as long as, you know, obviously I have since, you know, I commentate the races, you know about the rivalry that has been years and years in the making between Trent Dunham and Tim Walsh. I mean, Tim Walsh is having a career year, obviously. He's the highest he's ever been in the point standings. He picked up only his 2nd career win this season at Sonoma. Looking like he is definitely going to be in the playoffs. But he'd love to go to victory lane for a 2nd time this season. On the flip side, Trent Dunham wants to get his first win of the season so he can defend his championship that he got last year. Brooke Allan in the 3 there, trying to get her 3rd career win and 3rd win of the season. She's now in the 3rd position. That's a lot of 3s in that sentence. Cody Smart right there in 4th. James McCloud in 5th. Mentioned Sandfer in 6th. Jordan Anderson trying to become the 4th rookie to go to victory lane. He's the highest running driver in the point standings without a win. And look who else is behind him. Levi McIntyre and J Shelton. Now there's 2 drivers that also have some big stories coming into this race. Levi McIntyre, 36th in points. He is literally only 2 positions ahead of the spot you need to be in order to keep your charter. And J Shelton, on the other hand, she comes into this race 41st in the point standings. As things stand right now, that 02 team would be heading into next season without a charter. And J Shelton's been in the Hershey's Cup Series since season 1. Brooke Allan has managed to get around Trent Dunham for 2nd, now sets her sights on Tim Walsh for 3rd place. I'll tell you what, that win Brooke Allan got earlier on this season has certainly been a shot in the arm, it seems. Winning at Richmond, and then goes to Arizona, wins on fuel strategy, or not fuel strategy, but wins on green flag pit stops there. And guess who it was that she beat at Arizona? The car she's trying to reel in right now, Tim Walsh in the 15. Oh, wow, nice move there. We don't see many drivers try and make the move in this corner. Can Brooke Allan follow it up? She stays alongside. Tries to get the run on the high line here through this right-hander, and she just might get him at the start-finish line. No, not quite. Tim Walsh going to clear, at least for the moment. Great battling here, but we got to keep in mind, too, that since we've gotten ourselves into a bit of a long green flag run, green flag pit stops could be the deciding factor into who's going to victory lane here today. Noticing a couple of drivers making their way into the top 10, couple of Toyotas. Manuel Hartnett in 11th, his teammate Richardson in 9th. It was a Toyota that won the inaugural Hershey's Cup Series race here back in season 1. Anybody remember who it was? 55, Aaron's Dream Machine of then Holden Gluba. There's a name from the past as battle for the lead is on, and it's over. Walsh holds the spot still from Brooke Allan. Meanwhile, we got a battle heating up for 3rd place. James McCloud all over the back bumper of Trent Dunham. Now tucks back in line behind the Sega Chevy Camaro. Cody Smart right there, and behind him maybe a few, well actually it would be a future teammate. The announcement that Levi McIntyre, who's been running for Metal Maniac Motorsports this season, will be going back to the team he started with, Young Motorsports, so he and Cody Smart will be teammates next year. That is provided that Levi McIntyre is able to maintain his charter next season. And the battle for the lead on again. Brooke Allan, Tim Walsh. Shades of a few weeks ago at Arizona. And just like at Arizona, Brooke Allan is going to bypass the 15. We're looking here at the tail end of the field. I don't know if lap traffic will come into play, but Dylan Poteet, apparently the damage he sustained in the chicane that brought out our only caution so far, that has greatly affected him speed-wise. You see the leaders back behind him, so they may end up catching that 31 depending on the differentials in speed. J Baskinger, who was also caught up in that incident, is lost the lead pack. He's kind of straggling behind. And then here's the tail end of the field. One driver I see here towards the tail is Benny Watson. He did not have a good run last week at Springfield, and he's not having a good run here today. He dropped 7 spots in the standings last week, down to 26th in points. Our Dover race winner down near that danger zone. He needs to get himself back up into the away from that 30th position in points. Another driver back here, Dylan Young, we mentioned, 2-time winner, comes into this race outside the top 30 in points, and right now not running up where he needs to be to get back into the top 30 in the standings. And just a car ahead of him is last week's winner, R.J. Reynolds. Now, Reynolds managed to jump 11 spots in the points with his win last week to 20th in points, but certainly needs to have a much better performance than what he's having right now to continue that momentum and keep himself in contention for one of those playoff positions as well. J Arndt also back here, 10th in the point standings. Not a good run for the Reddit Chevrolet. As we got a battle going on for third place again. Trent Dunham, J McCloud, Levi McIntyre all up in this group. Meanwhile up front, Brooke Allen out in the race lead. Tim Walsh in second. It's almost kind of like some deja vu from Arizona. When Brooke Allen got around Tim Walsh, Walsh wasn't able to close the gap back up between himself and the 3. So, almost like watching the same kind of a deal here. Now remember, most of these drivers up here at the front did not come to pit road under that caution that we had back on lap number 1. So they are going to have to pit, I would say, somewhere within the next 3 to 4 laps, depending on how much fuel they were able to save under pacing. And like I said as well, that may not be the only pit stop they'll have to make. Especially if they come to pit road this lap. If they come to pit road this lap, it's going to be really, really close for these drivers. Got a new face that's popped up in the top 10, the 44 of Sean Gallighan. Told you that the road course aces would try finding their way up to the front. He's battling right with another road course ace in Zachary Fitzwater. Manuel Hartnett there, and there is hometown guy Johnny Gardner, another hometown driver Elijah Gilbert right there as well in the 98 car. Move back up towards the front. McCloud is now in possession of third. McIntyre now in fourth. Trent Dunham is faded back to the 5th position. Trying to listen to the engine of the 3 coming off the corner. I couldn't tell if it sounded like Brooke Allen was feathering the throttle or not. These drivers might be trying to save a little bit of fuel so that way they can make it with only having to pit once. And only time will tell if that is indeed the case. I mean, we are getting to the halfway point of this race now. So maybe, since they've been able to make it 12 laps on this fuel with the aid of a caution lap, well, actually 2 caution laps, they might be able to make it on 1 stop. They may not have to pit 2 times. Maybe if this thing had gone green all the way, it would have been very questionable on whether they could have made it on 1 stop. But maybe those 2 pacing laps they had with that only caution back on lap 1, they were able to save enough. This track has a lot of elevation changes, a lot of downhill elevation changes, so they could have been able to shut the engine off, let it coast for a little bit, and then get back into the throttle and save some fuel that way as well. But they are going to have to pit. There is no doubt about that. They will have to pit at least once before this race is over. And that goes for the drivers, I believe, too, that came to pit road under that caution. I don't think they can make it the rest of the distance on the fuel they have in their tanks, because they're only about 1 to 2 laps better on fuel than the drivers that didn't come to pit road. I mentioned before, Michael Norman Motorsports not renewing the contract of Brooke Allen next season. The 3 car will be piloted by rookie Holly Davis, so Brooke Allen, with this being her final season, just trying to go all out and make it a career year. Already has basically done that. 2 trips to victory lane, currently 4th in the point standings, a surefire driver to get into the playoffs this season. And we had a battle for 3rd place there between James McCloud and Levi McIntire. That quickly faded. McCloud holding the spot. I don't know if McCloud would consider this a home track or not. He's from neighboring New Jersey, but we don't really go to any tracks around New Jersey with the exception of here. There's last week's runner-up, Charles Sandfer. He's up in the 7th position. Got a battle maybe heating up here for 5th place. Cody Smart all over the back bumper of Trent Dunham. Now that battle doesn't look like it's going to amount to much yet until we get down to the chicane. Cody Smart just biding his time. Trent Dunham started this race from the outside of the front row, is now faded back outside of the top 3, back in the 5th position. And how about Jordan Anderson? Another great run for that 89 car. You got to think that at some point this season that 89 car is going to victory lane. He's been so consistent. He hasn't gone to victory lane, but he's 2nd in the point standings. I mean, you just got to think that at some point that car is going to find victory lane. And here we go. Here's the green flag pit stops I was talking about. And is anyone going to risk it and stay out? Yes, one driver is. That's Zachary Fitzwater in the 59. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Fitzwater is a former winner of this race. Seems like I recall him going to victory lane at the Glen. Maybe I'm incorrect in that. The defending winner of this race was Zachary Fitzwater. I was right. He went coast to coast. So I was right. He is a former winner of this event. Another former winner of this event back in Season 4 is in this field, but we barely haven't seen him up at the front. And that's Benjamin Miles. Kat Tellier then, Kat Batson now, was a former of this winner of this race back in Season 3. Season 2, Watkins Glen checkered flag was taken by Joshua Ciculli, who's also in this field. And so 4 of our former winners here at the Glen are in this field. The only one that isn't, the inaugural winner, as I mentioned, Holden Gluba. So all these drivers might have been some that came to pit road under that caution and are able to make it a little bit further on fuel. And they're all staying out an extra lap, it looks like. So we're going to have to see if staying out this extra lap or 2 is going to help any of these drivers in terms of track position. Fitzwater, Gilbert, Collard, McIntosh, Batson, Shearer, Baker, Alvarise, Voyles, and McCrury are now your top 10. That will certainly change when this group of race cars are going to have to hit pit road. I don't think it's possible with coming to pit road back on the completion of lap 1 onto lap 2 that they're going to have 6 laps of fuel in their tanks. I just don't see that as a possibility. But we did see in yesterday's Pizza Hut X Series race some drivers elect to stay out a few extra laps, and they gained positions on track. So this could be what these drivers are trying to do. J Gilbert closing up to the back bumper very quickly of Zachary Fitzwater. We may have a battle for the lead here, although I don't know if that's going to really matter, since probably these drivers are going to come to pit road this time. Maybe they can stretch it one more lap, and they're going to do it. They're going to go one more lap. So this may be a battle for the race lead between Fitzwater and Gilbert before they come back around. Now as this battle's going on, let's go back to the tail end of these drivers that have stayed out. I believe the last of them is the 42 of Blaine Keys. As we drop back here, this would currently be the battle for the lead, and right now it's not much of a battle. Brooke Allen currently way out in front. Tim Walsh in second, and that's the best battle right now. Now this is unofficial, but it would be official when the pit stops cycle around. This would be a 3-way battle for second place between McCloud, Walsh, and McIntyre. Move back up here towards the front. A couple of drivers that I noticed that stayed out with this group. Drivers that we mentioned really need good runs here. I saw Alvarise, I saw Dylan Young, and I saw Benny Watson. So they're obviously trying the strategy of gaining positions on track by staying out a little bit longer. I also saw last week's winner, R Reynolds, in this group. And now these drivers are going to have to come to pit road. So they made it about 2 laps further than the other drivers that came to pit road that had not come to the pit lane under the caution. Now, I very much doubt Fitzwater is going to be able to get out ahead of B Allan, but we're going to have to see where he cycles around once the leaders get back around here. They're all coming down pit road. The current unofficial race leader, B Allan, is entering into the final corners here. Off the final turn, down the front straightaway, she will definitely take the race lead back. Best battle seems to be for second place, and that may end up having B Allan en route to her 3rd win of the season. Oh wow, Fitzwater had a good pit stop. So did J Gilbert. Fitzwater may come out in 2nd. Wow, so staying out as long as he did really helped the 59 car. And he does indeed cycle around to the 2nd position. Great strategy on the part of the 59. And he's going to have 2 laps fresher tires than the 3 of B Allan. So that could be bad news for Brooke. Fitzwater might be able to reel her in. He's going to have to do it in 5 laps time, though. This battle for 3rd place now between T Walch and J McCloud. Oh boy, they really got a big run there on Fitzwater, though. Fitzwater's tires not completely heated up, and now Fitzwater starting to fade back a little bit there. Loses 2nd place to T Walch. Thought that maybe with the fresher tires, Fitzwater was going to be able to hold his own against these guys, but apparently that's not the case. Walsh clears into 2nd. Now he's all by himself as the battle is on for 3rd. So now it's almost deja vu from Arizona. Can T Walch reel in the 3 of B Allan? He's got about 3.5 seconds to make up in a span of 4 laps. And of course, the last thing that B Allan wants to see right now is a caution flag. That would bunch everyone back up, and if it came out, we would probably be able to go back green for a green-white checker and maybe a 1-lap shootout. We're going to keep tabs on the telemetry ticker up on the top left and see if T Walch does indeed close the gap at all between himself and the current race leader, B Allan. So far this season, we have had 3 drivers go to victory lane multiple times, that being Alex Drayton, Dylan Young, and the car you're currently looking at, B Allan. B Allan's last 2 wins have come in her last, I believe, 5 starts. Last 6 starts, I apologize. Winning at Richmond, then winning 4 weeks later at Arizona. Now 2 weeks later, trying to pick up what would be her 3rd win of the season and 3rd win of her career. B Allan was a rookie back in season 4 last year. Ended up winning Rookie of the Year over Caitlin Sang. Replaced then driver Michael Norman. And right now, in what would be her final season, looking like she is going to be going out with a bang. There's no doubt about that. The battle's still on for 2nd place between T Walch and J McCloud, and the gap from Walsh to B Allan has stayed around 3.5 seconds. We'll see what it is around this time, but it doesn't look like that gap is closed up by very much. And time is of the essence for the 15 car. We got some drivers on pit road. Saw a couple of drivers that were on pit lane. That's Dylan Poteet and J Baskinger. Apparently they were drivers that came to pit road earlier under the green flag run and now are making a green flag pit stop again. The gap was closed up by 4/10, but that's not going to do it. They needed to close up the gap by about a second and a half, and they were not successful in doing so, and now the battle on for second again between Walsh and McCloud. So that right there may very well give this win over to Brooke Allan, provided the 3 car does not make a mistake. Michael Norman Motorsports this season with Brooke Allan, Daniel Gilbert, and Joshua Collard. Between those 3 drivers, 3 wins, 2 courtesy of Allan, 1 courtesy of Collard. And they may end up getting their 4th win as a team this season. White flag will be displayed this time. Baskinger and Poteet still sitting on pit road. That time by, the gap increased by 2/10 as the battle is still going on for second place between Walsh, McIntyre, McCloud, and Dunham. Brooke Allan just hitting her marks. So many drivers this season having a career year, and Brooke Allan is no exception. Through the chicane, nice and smooth, nice exit off the rumble strips. Gap continues to maintain. There's nobody in her rearview mirror, nobody ahead in her windshield. It's just Brooke Allan and her thoughts and what's got to be going through her mind, knowing that in her final season, she's going to put the legendary number 3 in victory lane for a 3rd time this season. For the 3rd time in her career, she's going to go to victory lane, heading towards the start-finish line. Brooke Allan is a 3-time winner here in Season 6, takes the checkered flag at the Glen. Tim Walsh just barely beating McCloud to the line for 2nd, with McCloud 3rd, McIntyre 4th, and Trent Dunham in the 5th position. I believe that is the first time that the 3 car has gone to victory lane more than 2 times in a season here in the Hershey's Cup Series. Former driver Michael Norman went to victory lane twice, I believe, back in season 4, but never went to victory lane 3 times. Or I'm sorry, it wasn't season 4, it was season 3, I should say. Well, Brooke Allan could very well be one of the favorites heading into the playoffs, and I'm almost getting a deja vu of Joshua Michaels from last year when he announced it was going to be his final season in the Hershey's Cup Series, and he nearly ended up winning the championship that year. So, I mean, I'm getting a lot of kind of deja vu vibes in that regard. Michaels was a 3-time winner last year and missed out on the championship by 26 points in the Final 4. Well, Brooke Allan seems to be taking that exact same route here this year. And in what would have been 8 starts, it's her 3rd victory. Look on down through the remainder of the finishing results here today. 2 drivers finished out of the race, Kat Batson and Brandon Gonzales. I did not see that wreck. You guys apparently did via the NNSCRA split cam, but tough break for them. J Arndt down 2 laps, 3 laps down for Baskinger and Poteet as they finished on pit road. So, yeah, that was an incident that apparently occurred and apparently did not bring out the caution flag, which I'm certain Brooke Allan is very happy for. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here, though, from Watkins Glen. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We have shown your full finish results. These are your rookie point standings and your overall point standings, as the drivers highlighted in yellow are your 16 playoff drivers were this regular season to come to an end. Now, next week, trucks go road course racing at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Pizza X Series drivers are off, and the Hershey's Cup Series continue their road course racing streak as we will be racing at the home of the Turn of Death. It's Thornton Raceway. So we will see you guys next week, as Brooke Allan has definitely locked herself up a spot in the playoffs this season with her 3rd win of the year here at Watkins Glen. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.